Hi, I'm Nicholas.
And I'm Lindsay Mead.
And you're listening to
Too Bad
Pagans. Today we're discussing the power of thoughts.
This is the time of year when things are changing.
And what you're thinking about may be shaping that very change.
Thanks everyone for tuning in.
And enjoy the show.
Hi everybody.
Hello.
You know, I always say hi before you do.
I suppose.
I've noticed that. I always say hi first.
Oh,
I think you wouldn't know what to do if I didn't kick the show off with a hi everybody.
Probably just be like...
I think you just stare at me awkwardly like, how do you want to start this?
Mostly I think I just don't want to jump in before you're ready, so I'm like...
Yeah, you just wait. Sometimes our endings are kind of awkward because the endings can't happen until Nick says...
Thanks for tuning in or something.
No, you say blessed be.
Yeah.
And then I say love and light. And so there's always a moment of awkwardness where I'm waiting for you to say this. And you're like, oh right, blessed be.
Oh right. That's the thing we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although last time, on my vlog, I end the video saying, stay positive, seek happiness, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. That's how I end almost every video. Well, no, that's how I end every video.
Yeah.
So when we went to end the podcast last time, I almost said it.
I did too.
And when I was editing it, I still expected myself to say it. I could tell that that's absolutely what I was gearing up to say. And then I had this moment of, oh wait, no, I can't say anything. And then I'm waiting for you to say blessed be.
Well, that's what you say at the end.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and there's something about the podcast I've wanted to mention for a long time.
Mm-hmm. There
is something weird about our audio track.
Yeah.
That we don't know what it is or how to fix it. It just happens in recording where it cuts out a couple of seconds, usually milliseconds.
Mm-hmm. So
it will pause to say something or you'll miss the end of a word or something.
Yeah, it's super
weird. And it feels
weird.
Like it glitches or it jumps ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Usually you can still figure out what we're talking about, but there's no way for me to correct that.
Yeah. And
no point in me trying to cut those out either.
Yeah, and we just haven't found a better recording solution, so...
Yeah, we don't know what happens to it. Sometimes it's, I think either the last time or the time before, it seemed like it happened a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's not so bad. It only happens a couple of times.
Yeah, it's super weird. I haven't been able to figure it out.
Yeah, it's a bizarre thing. I just wanted to, because we can't say, I noticed it in editing,
mm-hmm.
and I want to tell people, but it's already been recorded, so I can't tell people. So I'm like, one of these days, I have to remember to let people know this is why this does this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why this does this.
Yes. Eventually we'll be super fancy and have much better hardware and software to record onto, but... Maybe.
I think we do, just fine as we are.
I think so.
I like a little bit that it's simple.
Yeah. It's just that one little thing that always irritates me.
Yeah, it is. That is pretty obnoxious. And last time when I was editing it,
mm-hmm.
I had cut out the old audio and then I put in the new audio file.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm listening to it. I'm just laying in my bed listening to it, waiting for something to happen that I need to cut out, which usually doesn't happen. So I'm just laying there listening to what we're saying and paying attention to what we're saying. And then all of a sudden, I'm in the process of making a point. Mm-hmm. And I think I took a breath and it very seamlessly switched to a very different topic. It cut out an entire section of what we were talking about.
Strange.
And I was like, oh my God, this doesn't make sense at all. And I'm like, how do I fix this? Because we got from literally one topic to another just like that.
Mm-hmm.
It turned out when I cut out the old podcast, there was a section that had been separated from the old podcast, so it was still in there, and it just switched over to that audio.
Huh.
But there was a good long moment where I had no idea. I was like, we can't use any of this now. And then I realized there was that added audio, and I just deleted that added audio, went back, and I'm like, it was fine.
Oh, that makes me laugh.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, what happened?
That's amazing. Oh, this is what happens in editing.
Yes.
All the time.
Panic over nothing.
Yeah. What happened to that clip I just filmed?
Mm-hmm. And then the funny thing is when I was listening to the part where it had skipped to a different topic, mm-hmm. I was like, didn't we talk about this last month?
Oh my God, that's awesome.
I was like, why did we talk about it again?
Because we can't remember what happened for most of us.
That is legitimately what I thought. I'm like, we just forgot that we had talked about it, and we talked about it again. No, it was literally the audio from the previous month. So.
That's awesome. Oh.
So,
made me laugh.
Do you want to talk about what's going on in your life? Do you have anything interesting to add about your life?
Sure.
Okay. This is usually how we start off the podcast. So.
It is. Yeah.
Let people know what we're doing.
Yeah. Life has been good for me. There are some things that are falling into place for me in my life, and that feels nice and wonderful. At the same time, in order to make some of these things fall in, I've had to cut back a lot on a lot of my pleasure spending, which I really enjoy, and that makes me happy.
Yeah.
So this month has been this weird dichotomy of being super stressed because I can't buy this thing that I've always for the last 4 years I've just went out and bought, but so that I can do this other thing that makes me really happy and will make me more fulfilled. So yeah, it's been highs and lows for the past month. It's been really weird.
Yeah.
But overall, life has been really good.
Good.
Yeah.
I think it's just a transitional phase.
I think so.
And I think that's for everybody right now. It's where the seasons are in transition.
Oh yeah.
And I think a lot of lives are in transition right now too.
Definitely. And that's what it feels like. Something big is on the horizon, and I just have to get there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the getting there that's making me anxious.
I sometimes feel like that's my entire life though. It's always a getting there.
Possibly.
Actually, there is a quote, and I'm not going to be able to say the whole quote because I couldn't remember it, but it was Robin Williams said it at the beginning of Patch Adams. Mm-hmm. And the beginning of it, or maybe it's at the end, no, I think it's the beginning of it, he says, all of life is a coming home.
Yeah.
And I think that is completely true. You spend your whole life trying to come home.
Yeah.
But it goes on to talk about where you're lost in a blizzard and you're trying to find your way. And all stuff, and it's pretty spot on.
Yeah.
I love that quote so much.
It's good. I like it.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of us are in a transitional phase right now for sure. Mm-hmm. And oh my God, Easter was so warm.
It was.
It was, and I know that other parts of the United States, I think, were underneath a bunch of snow.
I think so.
But it was so freaking warm here.
It was 70 degrees.
It was.
I had the windows open all day.
And it was cold in my house. And I had bundled up. I put on a hoodie and on my gloves, and I'm okay, I'm ready for it to be a cold, rainy day. And I walked outside, and it was sunny and warm. And I was like, what is happening?
What's going on right now?
But I was thinking about past Easters, and I think we almost always have good Easter weather.
Yeah. I don't pay attention to it. It's not a holiday that I really pay attention to.
And maybe I'm just not remembering the holidays where it was really rainy. But when I thought about my childhood memories of Easter icons and stuff, I didn't remember a lot of bad weather.
Yeah.
So unlike Halloween, where it rains almost every Halloween.
All the time, yeah.
Every trick-or-treating was rainy and cold. Oh. And Mom made you put your big coat over your costume. You didn't want to.
Because you want to show off.
Yeah, you wanted to wear your costume and go trick-or-treating like a good person. And Mom's like, no, you need gloves and a hat and a coat underneath your costume.
I wish I could sympathize with you, but I practiced neither of these holidays when I was a kid.
I know. And I was actually thinking about that yesterday. I had posted a rant on Facebook about how
Easter egg
hunting. Yeah, I know. It's a funny thing to rant about, but I needed to say something.
About how adults were trampling kids for the Easter eggs.
No, that wasn't even what I ranted about.
Well, yeah, but that was a story you linked to.
I briefly mentioned it.
Yeah, that was a story you linked to.
Yes. What I had ranted about it was the fact that I saw, I said that, I don't recognize Easter anymore. Because I saw someone share a photo of the plastic eggs that they had painted for Easter.
What?
Yes. And I'm like, why? I don't understand what you're doing in this whole picture. I don't get it.
Buy them pre-painted.
Well, why would you do that? I don't understand. When I was a kid, we'd buy eggs, Mom would hard boil them, and we would dip them in coloring, and we'd have the table would be covered in newspaper, and we'd all do this, and then there would be crayons and markers, and we would color them, and then the Easter bunny would come and take those eggs and hide them in the yard on Easter, so a couple days later or something. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, these are good memories that I have. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, there's the eggs, it's so much better to use real eggs. It's cheaper. The eggs are better for the planet.
If you never find them.
Yeah, it's fine if you don't find them. Something will come along and eat them, or they'll just go back to the earth, and that'll be that.
Mm-hmm.
You're not creating plastic that's going to end up in a landfill someday and never go away.
Mm-hmm.
And also, and I said, it makes for a great snack for Dad. Because it's true. Any eggs that managed to survive being hid over and over again and didn't get all completely broken up, my dad would eventually, he'd like eat them.
Mm-hmm.
So these plastic eggs, I remember seeing them when I was younger from time to time, but they were so rare.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand. Like, now it just seems like they're everywhere. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
why wouldn't you just make your own eggs? It's cheaper, too, to do your eggs
people
yourself.
are lazy.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
People want to, like, to me, the thing is you put stuff in the plastic eggs that people go find, like chocolate or money or...
That's what I've been seeing. People talked about that. And I'm like, but you don't need to put treats in the eggs to convince the kids to go get the eggs. Because we didn't. We used real eggs. And the fun was being outside and going out with your brothers and sisters and trying to find these eggs. Because we got our candy and our toys in our basket. And that would stay inside and we'd go look for eggs. And that was just the fun activity. It wasn't about finding stuff to eat.
I would weigh in on this, but I have no, like...
Right.
Context for this whole conversation.
Yeah, and that's when I was... Because ultimately I wasn't just ranting about... the use of plastic eggs. No,
that wasn't
versus,
the point. It was
real eggs,
like family memories over just
right. And I said, and because I mentioned the article where the adults were like stepping on kids to get to eggs and stuff like that, and bad parenting behavior. I linked to that because I didn't understand the concept of going to someone else's Easter egg hunt and then hunting with your kids. Because that was something we did at home. We lived in the country, so we had this big yard that we could put eggs all over the place, and then we did it with the family.
Yeah.
And ultimately it was about, Easter was about spending time with your family and having fun. It wasn't really a religious thing in my household. It was just fun. And while I was writing that and ultimately ending up saying I'm grateful for my parents and thank you to my parents for giving me these great memories and this good, structure to live on. And I thought of you. You didn't get those things, really.
Well, we did, just not, like, as Easter,
Right.
We did other things, but not Easter. We went to Good Friday service.
Yeah, you did the religious stuff, which is cool. That's fine.
Yeah.
It just... I don't know. It was just about family and... enjoying your time with your family, and that's really what the holidays were about.
Yeah. I mean, like, we did stuff like go play croquet, and, because, yes, we played croquet on the lawn when I was a kid.
We did, too.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's kind of weird that you and I both did that. Is that a Michigan thing, or is this coincidental that you and I did that?
I think it's just coincidental, because I'll say croquet to people who are, like, around here in 40, 50, 60, and they're, not 60, the 40 and 50, and they're like, what the crap are you talking about? Really?
I don't even know how... I just remember my parents bought a really nice croquet kit, and I remember putting them up in the yard, and we played croquet. That's one of the things my family did. We always did bonfires and, like, hide and go seek. We did, too.
Oh, my God.
Love bonfires. Those were great memories.
So we definitely did stuff as a family. We just didn't do that pagan stuff. Halloween.
We really didn't see it as pagan stuff.
No.
I don't think I had any concept of that when I was a kid.
No, I didn't either. But I was always like... Because I remember when I was like 7, we were driving... This is loosely related to Christmas. We were driving home from my uncle's house where we all met for Christmas that one year. And we were driving home and someone had this like plastic Santa on like a chimney. And I was like... Mom, what's going on there? Like, I got Christmas lights, but I'd never seen, like, Santa on a chimney.
Whoa.
And she was like, oh, those people, they believe in Santa. And I was like, they believe in Santa? And she's like, well, not really. But there's this story that he comes and brings the kids. And I was like, the kids believe that? Like, I was so removed from that aspect of popular culture that I don't get it. Like, I've only ever been trick-or-treating once in my life when I was 18. And I was like, I'm an adult. I'm going to go do this now. And, like, everyone was like, what the crap are you doing here? You're an adult. I'm like, because I look like I didn't look like I was 18. I looked like I was like 25 or 30. They're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I've never been trick-or-treating before. And then they gave me extra candy, so that was nice. But,
yeah, because you had your sad story.
Yeah. But most of the time they were just like, what the crap are you doing? Get away from here.
Aww.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I don't think I put that much thought into it when I was a kid. As I got a little older, like 10 and older, like I started to know that Santa wasn't real, but I held on to it for as long as I possibly could. Even though there was a very large part of me that said, no, he's not real. I didn't care because I wanted to believe. And I just liked believing.
You know what's weird? I mean, there are weird, like, pagan things that, not pagan, quote unquote, but weird things that have snuck into my parents' house, like a Christmas tree, which is totally pagan. But
I pictured like a troll sneaking into your parents' house when you said it that way.
Whatever, you know, there could be a geist in there. I don't know. Anyway, but the one thing that my mom did do was the tooth fairy. The tooth fairy existed in my parents' household.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which is super interesting, I think.
And that's not based in anything Christian related, as far as I know.
No, but like there was this little like tooth fairy pillow that my mom had that she gave to us when we, lost a teeth, and you'd put the tooth in it, and then overnight it would disappear, and it was always a 50-cent piece would appear there the next day.
And I bet you got really excited about that, didn't you?
Yeah, because nobody knew what 50-cent pieces were anymore.
Well, see, we always got like a quarter or a dollar, that sort of thing. It was never really anything fancy, but I remember being so excited about going to sleep with that tooth we'd put underneath our pillow, and then Mom would have to sneak in there and steal it. And well, it was a tooth fairy, and it was just very exciting.
Yeah, it was very exciting.
And then being young enough to wake up in the middle of the night and have to go to the bathroom and want to get a drink, but no, you can't because Santa might be out there putting your presents around the tree.
That's
so
awesome.
you'd stay in bed and try to fall back asleep because he knows when you're sleeping and when you're awake. So
yeah, he can see it.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, and it's weird because like weird things with my family. Like we always did Christmas Eve was when our family get together was always on Christmas Eve, but when we all went to bed, Mom would do the stockings. We all knew that Mom did the stockings, but she's always like, you got to go to bed so I can do your stocking, And
that's interesting. So she still participated in the tradition of Santa coming and filling the stocking.
Yes.
But she just didn't say it was Santa.
Yeah. She was like, okay, we're going to do this. You need to go to bed now. And we just woke up the next morning and there was candy in the stocking.
I think if I'm ever going to have kids, I am probably going to go too far with it. Like, I'll be that person who, like, goes out into her yard and, like, with fake deer footprints and puts them in the yard. I guarantee you I will do stuff like that. I will go way too far with it.
Oh, man. That makes me laugh.
But just because I like the believing part of it.
Yeah.
And how special that is when you're a kid. And yes, eventually you have to... Maybe someone tells you that Santa's not real and you're heartbroken, but I still think it's worth it.
Yeah. For me, it was the Jesus is not real, and I was like, I'm kidding.
You know what, though? See, the Santa thing never, no one ever just flat out said Santa's not real, and then I was heartbroken. I just gradually figured it out over time. So it was a nice transition into adulthood. But... there was a time that came around where I kind of, like, I realized that okay, now I know I'm a pagan, I'm a witch now, so I believe in magic. But before I knew what witchcraft was and all this stuff, I realized I had to have a time where I just woke up and realized fairies aren't real. Magic isn't real. Yeah. And my Hogwarts letter is never going to show up. All this stuff. And reading Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, I always expected someday I'd walk out into my pasture. Because we had a ton of acreage, hills and forests, and it was amazing. I was in Narnia because I couldn't see any houses out in the pasture. Yeah. So I always figured someday I might walk over this hill or around this clump of trees and something magical will happen to me. And it never did. And I remember having that emotion where I felt like there is no magic in the world. It's just this. Yeah. And that's it. And like major depression followed. Yeah.
I can understand that.
And then I suppose I'd probably still be that way today. Because I became a very cynical person in my teens. I think that it was partly based in that I was just bitter with what I was seeing in the world and it wasn't as great as I'd hoped it would be. And as an adult, I could still be that depressing, cynical kind of person. But I've decided that I do believe in fairies. And just because I can't see them doesn't mean they don't exist in some form.
Yes.
You know? I actually have, and if I've said this story before, I'm sorry, but I have one of those seeing stones, and I found it out in the woods. And a seeing stone is a stone that has a hole naturally dug into it, like it's just there, and it's the weirdest thing if you find one.
Yes.
Like, how the heck did that happen? I found it out in the woods, so it's not like it could have been man-made or anything. And I kept it, and I've never looked through it. Because the idea is that you look through it and you're supposed to be able to, it gives you the sight. You're supposed to be able to see fairies and trolls and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I've never looked through it because I'm afraid that when I look through it, I won't see anything. And then I'll be sad.
Well, maybe if you look through it, they just won't be around at that point.
Well, that's what I would tell myself to make myself feel better. But it's like Schrodinger's cat.
Yeah.
As long as you don't look.
Yeah.
Anything is still possible. So I've never looked. Ever. And I told that to a friend of mine once, and she goes, "Why haven't you looked? What if you looked and you did see something? Your life would change forever."
Yeah.
I know, but I can't. Because I'm so afraid of the opposite happening.
Yeah.
Which probably sounds really silly to some people that are listening. What if I did look and I saw like a demon or a ghost or something?
I think that would freak you the fuck out. Sorry for the F-bomb.
It's true.
But it's so true.
And now that's crossed my mind.
You're never going to do it.
I'm never going to look because I'd be so afraid that I'd like turn around and there'd be a chick with her hair in her face or something standing right behind me.
Yeah, in like 1920s like bedcloths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blackness around her eyes and sunken cheeks.
And the head at the weird angle.
Yes. Why do they do that?
For that exact reason.
They always get them head at the weird angle, or they like do like this weird contortionist stuff walking down the stairs. It's making me upset just thinking about it now.
Oh.
It's funny though, like I've seen, if it was a ghost and it was a guy, I don't think it would scare me as much as if it was a chick. Chick ghosts are terrifying.
I agree with you there.
And they always have their hair in their face.
I just want to... Oh, no, I don't want to see your eyes. Never mind.
No. Like, normally you'd want to, like, reach up and push their hair out of their face. But no. They might, like, eat your hand or something. I don't know what ghosts do. They never show what the ghosts do to the person. You just know that horrible things happen, yes.
The next clip of the movie, you see that character, they just have a stump instead of...
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Or like there's that scene in The Grunge where she climbs up through your blankets. That was so mean. Whoever thought that up, I could punch them 50 times. Because the blankets are a shield in your bed and you're safe underneath your blankets. And the fact that she could just climb underneath your blankets.
That's why they did it.
And then you could lift up the blanket and there's her head. Which sounds really weird, but it's not sexual. It's just like, oh my god, well, I can't finish that sentence because it would still sound sexual.
Why do you gotta sexualize people like that, Lindsay?
I'm sorry. This podcast totally went rated R today.
The people love us for that.
I hope so.
I hope so too. Because this is what we got.
Yeah, who knows if they love us or not. They're tuning in, I guess.
I suppose.
But yeah, I feel like we just drifted on some really weird topics.
That's okay. So how are you doing?
I am fine. Yeah, same thing as you, transitional phase. We're moving this year. We're going to be moving at the end of April.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to be moving over to my grandmother's house so that they can fix up the things that need to be fixed in our house, and then they could sell it. And then I think by like the summertime, we should be moving over to the new property.
That's awesome.
So big transitional year, and trying to like really make losing weight and being healthy a major priority. So there's also a transitional phase in that. And if finally I can do it this year, they'll definitely be big and transitional and stuff.
Yay.
Yeah. And I've been playing The Sims a lot. And that's really all I'm going to say about it. It's a computer game for those of you who don't know.
Yeah.
Where you play simulated life.
Mm-hmm. I've heard about it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you've heard about it a lot from me.
Yes. Yes. I remember one year you wanted to be a sim for your Halloween character.
Oh, that's true. I did, because it was it's an easy thing. You just have to get the little green diamond.
Yeah.
To sit above your head.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really expensive.
Yeah.
You could make your own, but I didn't think I could do it very well.
Yeah.
But that's all you'd have to do, is just have one of those above your head, and then you're a sim character. And I also didn't think anybody would get it. Because most people don't remember.
I'd have to have it explained.
I think only like one person at work would have gotten the reference.
Yeah.
Because they were a gamer. This year for Halloween, I'm thinking about being... I don't know what I want to be for Halloween. If I get healthy and I lose the weight, I definitely want to dress up for Halloween. Mm-hmm. And right now, I'm down to 3 characters, which I'm sure I'll add more. Mm-hmm. But I either want to be Olivia, which is the chick from iZombie. She's a zombie who works in a morgue.
Okay.
So I'd get a lab coat and white hair and whiten up my skin. I love iZombie. It's such a good TV show.
Okay.
You should watch it. You'd like it too.
Okay.
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
At least the first season is, but it's so good. It's got the best intro song ever.
That's what I hear.
Oh my god, it's so good. You gotta jam out every time. And then I was gonna go as Olivia last year, but then my sister said she was going as Olivia from iZombie.
And then didn't do it.
And then she didn't do it, yeah. So I didn't get to do it. So then I also want to be Peggy Carter from Agent Carter.
Okay.
Which is a Marvel TV show, and it takes place in like the 40s or something, 40s or 50s. Okay. So she wears like a bright red Dick Tracy type hat and a bright blue suit, 50s styles businesswoman suit, mm-hmm. and she has a gun. Oh. Yeah, it's very Agent Dick Tracy type feel to her whole thing, huh. And she's got brown hair that's styled in the way of the 50s. I'd have to get a wig because I couldn't do that with my hair. And then I also thought about going as Supergirl.
Nice.
Because I think that would be really awesome. So, yeah.
I haven't even thought that far into the future.
I am definitely thinking that far into the future. I have been making so many plans for this year. Yeah. So many plans. The things I hope that I can do this year, mm-hmm. like dressing up for Halloween, or I was talking to Nick earlier about volunteering at Charlton Park, which is a historical park, mm-hmm. and we could dress up in like old-timey clothes and go to these parks and volunteer.
I'd be trying to live a steampunk fantasy instead of like
you would,
traditional old-timey.
You'd walk around like a cyborg arm and nobody would understand what was happening. What is he? I don't know.
I would do makeup like my hand is all... automaton hand.
Uh-huh, yeah.
And people are like, what?
Wouldn't get it at all. Yeah. They'd tell you couldn't volunteer.
Instead of like a flower in my hat, there'd be like gears forming a flower.
I don't think guys put flowers in their hats.
I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. Well, instead of like a bow or like a, like that, there used to be, instead of like a ribbon around the base of the hat, just have a little, some gears there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then we also talked about going hot air ballooning.
Yes.
So.
Which terrifies me, but.
I guarantee you I'm not going to like it. I will do it for the vlog, but I have definitely developed a fear of heights. Oh. In my older years.
In that wicker basket. I'm
hoping it's high up. But so I've noticed that last year sometime I went to Barnes & Noble in one of the bigger cities, mm-hmm. and it was a 2-story Barnes & Noble, mm-hmm. and I walked over to the balcony to look down onto the first floor, and I felt a bit of vertigo. I felt like the floor was dropping out beneath me, and I moved way away from the railing. So, mm-hmm. and that's was never a problem when I was younger. So it's definitely a new concept for me. Yeah, I think people have put it in my head.
I've always had that problem.
I haven't.
The thing I always get scared about is what they call the call of the void, where there's a French term.
That's a new one for me.
Yeah. Oh, seriously, it's like a legitimate condition that people have where when you get in high places, you feel yourself telling yourself to jump, not because you're suicidal, just because.
Are you sure? Because it kind of sounds a little suicidal, or you got a demon in your head or something.
Seriously, look it up. It's called the call of the void. Look it up. It's on Wikipedia. There's a whole page about it of people who have experienced this,
the need to jump off a building or something.
Yeah.
When you're up there, so. Uh-huh. I'm going to have to, like, tie you to the basket when we do the hot air balloon thing.
Pretty
Because you're
much.
going to feel like, I feel like jumping.
No, I think I'm just going to be cowering in a corner of the basket.
I'm thinking the baskets aren't as big as you think they are. I don't think you can cower in
I know. That's why I want to get...
I think we're going to be, like, body to body close.
I know. I just want to get, like, smaller and not look over the
Which is
side.
going to be really hard for you because you're a pretty big guy.
I am.
You're tall.
Oh, man. I'm, like, clamming up just thinking about it.
I don't know why you suggested it then.
I don't know. I don't know. Anyway.
So,
Anyway.
yeah, nothing really major to report. My birthday is coming up here soon.
Yay.
And I'll be reaching a year 3 of my vlog.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, which is kind of ironic. It'll be year 3 and I'm turning 30.
Mm-hmm.
That's like some interesting, like, symmetry right there.
It is.
I wonder what it means.
Repeating numbers.
It means something. That's interesting. Oh, I'm a little more excited about turning 30 now.
Maybe you should do a reading, like on your 30th birthday.
I probably should.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should definitely do something.
Yes. I have to work all day, or I would say that we should do something together.
I don't,
You.
but I do at the same time.
Yeah.
It's work, but it's not work.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to be me.
It is good to be.
I'm experiencing that a lot lately.
Yeah.
Moments of it's good to be me.
I don't blame you.
Which is nice. Because for the longest time after I quit my job and started writing full time, I didn't feel like I was an independent person.
Mm-hmm.
I still felt like I had to go to work. But I don't feel that anymore.
That's good.
I feel free.
Good.
And it's nice.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
I know.
I don't want to go back to work
I
tomorrow.
become that person.
Yeah. I hate you so much at this moment in
I
time.
know. And when I used to work at Barnes & Noble, every time I went to work, my dad would make comments because he lives off his own work too.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have to go to an employer or anything like that. And he would say things like, I thought, well, I gotta go to work. And he'd just smile and go, I don't. I think I'm gonna take a nap. Things like that.
Much.
Yeah.
I hate you so much, Dad. Oh, wait.
And now I get to say things like that, and he doesn't. I don't think he gets it. So, Ostara.
Yes.
Might as well talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Ostara.
For you, maybe.
I know, I didn't do anything.
I did.
And I'd, like, been committed to it, and then, like, just didn't do it. And, like, I thought about it over the last couple of days. I'm like, I'm going to have to say in the vlog I didn't do it. So I should do something. So I almost, like, threw together something to do, just to do it so I had something to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But that seemed disingenuous, if that's the right way to say it. So I didn't do it.
I'm sorry.
I went and played video games instead.
You made your Sims character do it.
No, I didn't. I didn't, actually. This time, my sim is not a witch. And they can be a witch in the game.
No.
My last several sims have been witches. But this time, she is not a witch. She's just a human.
Interesting.
For now.
For now.
For now.
Meh. She might find magic.
So do you want to talk about what you did?
Sure.
Since you have stuff to share?
Sure. It's pretty much the same story as last holiday.
Mm-hmm.
I baked some bread.
Yeah.
And got some wine around. I was going to do it in the middle of the... Actually, it's a funny story. I was going to do it Saturday night, I think. Yeah, it was Saturday night. I baked the bread. I got the wine after I got home from work. And I just fell asleep after the bread was done. Like, I made this loaf of bread, and it was beautiful. And I ate, like, half of it. And then I fell asleep. And then I was like, I woke up Sunday, and I was like, oh, yeah, I was going to... okay. So Sunday night, I was like, okay, I've still got this little chunk of bread left because it was so good. Because I just made it, you know.
Yeah.
And I had a little bit of wine left, so I was like, okay, people, can't talk to you right now because, you know, I was chatting with a couple of people on, you know. And I think I was talking to my mom or something, and I was like, okay, gotta go, gotta, you know, make time for this. Because I'm going to end up eating the rest of this bread that I made specifically for Sarah. So I did my little ritual. I've been trying. I'm such a compulsive person about weird things, like the music I listen to. I had been trying to find something just instrumental that would zen me out, for lack of a better word, and it just wasn't working. Like, my mind wasn't used to the new music, and it wasn't working for me. So I decided to listen to the playlist of songs that I listen to when I'm writing, and that worked super great. It didn't distract me because I was familiar with the songs, and so that worked great. And yeah, I just did a basic ritual and did a prayer, did the blessing, had some bread and wine.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think it sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Prayed for blessings for the peeps.
Peeps?
Not the peeps consumed on Easter. For the people in my life that I cared about. Which was different for me. I don't usually talk about, like, I grew up very religious, that you have this list of people that you pray for all the time, and your prayer warriors for them. And no, seriously, this is what I grew up with. Lindsay just gave me a look. Seriously, that's the term.
I had the same look I gave every really religious kid when I was growing up.
Oh yeah.
Because I grew up with Catholics, but we weren't super religious about it.
Yeah.
It was never froofy. I think that's the best word that I can come up with. You went to church. You sit, stand, kneel, sing, sit, stand, kneel. Peace be with you and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And you had your crucifixes on the wall. And that's pretty much where it began and it ended, unless you needed to go to the church to light a candle or confess or something like that.
Yeah.
But, and like I hear about people, like kids going to like Bible study and prayer group and just all this stuff that I just thought was so weird.
Yeah, that was me.
I did hang out with people like that, though. I just thought it was super weird that they did that. I even went to church. I went to like a Baptist church with a few of them. Yeah. Just to hang out with them. Even though So
anyway, I went to this same church that Lindsay went to.
That wasn't a church that I went to.
No,
I'd gone there a couple times with a friend.
A couple of times, but it just seemed really coincidental.
That is pretty coincidental, actually.
Because, like, small world,
I was probably that person that the few times I went there, I bet, like, the advisors, the adult people, did not like me being there. Because, like, I remember being in their Bible study and asking questions. And, like, you shouldn't ask questions. Yeah. Because they're too logical questions. Like, I think it was something like, well, what about people who grew up in a different... Because they had said, like, if after you're 6, which is like the age of understanding, you have to be
saved.
Yeah, you have to be Christian, otherwise when you die you go to hell. And I said, what about people who are born into cultures that have zero concept of Christianity? And they're like, well, that's why we go to those countries, and then we meet them and we tell them the word of God and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, but if your family believes this one set of beliefs, and that's how it is, and then someone who comes in who looks nothing like you in your family, acts nothing like you in your family, and they start telling you about a totally different God and that you have to believe that God, why would you believe this weird stranger? It would just, you would believe what your family believes more than likely. You'd be more likely to trust your family than this weird stranger. Yeah. And I don't think these were questions that they don't have answers for them. Not good answers. No. So... I don't think they liked it when I went, because I asked, I can't believe I'm pretty certain that's exactly what I said to them too. Yeah. I can't believe I remember that conversation. That's pretty amazing for me. It is.
So anyway, I grew up praying for a lot of people. And when I started to practice Wicca and paganism, I just took it on as more of a personal journey. I would ask occasionally for blessings for myself or assistance for myself, but I wouldn't really bring anyone else into it. But I just felt very compelled to not pray, I guess, about other people in my life. And, I thought that was very interesting. A different turn of events in my spiritual path, So.
Maybe you're becoming a little bit more comfortable with that aspect of religion.
Maybe.
Which I think is okay. I still pray.
Yeah.
I don't think because you're a pagan you have to stop praying. Praying isn't strictly a Christian thing.
Well, no. It was more like I brought them up in my ritual.
Right.
I guess I was praying, but
I did pray the other day. I don't pray all the time. Sometimes I'm really good about it, and I pray every night before I go to sleep. But I haven't in a little while, just because I just haven't thought about it. I usually do affirmations too. Right before I go to sleep, I am healthy. I am healed. I am happy. Things like that. I'll try to picture it so that way when I fall asleep, I will continue to have thoughts like that. And so I haven't been praying other than that. And I actually saw a really horrible story. I won't go into what it was about, but it was a terrible story about something someone had done to an animal, and it like traumatized me just reading about it a little bit, and it upset me to the point where I'm like, I need to pray on this. So I prayed about that animal, and then I prayed about helping the earth and then my family and full circle and stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of comfort in that. Because it's not like I could do anything about this horrible thing that I had read about, and I felt the need to do something. And that was the best I could do.
Yeah.
At that time. So I think in that regards, you improve the world by just doing the best you can in your little pocket of the world.
Yeah.
Like I feel very strongly about animals. So I rescue animals when they need to be rescued. I'll take animals in when they need to be taken in, and I love them the best that I can possibly love them and do the best by them. So at least I am doing good in my little pocket of the world. But sometimes you still feel very powerless when you hear about horrible things like that.
That's true. There's been a lot of that recently.
There has. And okay, so this is going to be in a transition thing, what I'm going to say here.
Okay.
It's going to transition into exactly what I'm going to talk about.
Boop.
Okay? I think the world has gotten too small because of the internet. And I love the internet. Don't misunderstand me. The internet's fantastic. But because of the internet, and also because of mainstream media, we know about too many things that happen.
Yeah.
Like, that horrible thing I read about, I didn't need to know that. Yeah. It didn't happen in my town. I don't even think it happened in my state. Yeah. So I don't need to hear. Back in a simpler time when there was no technology, you wouldn't know about these things that happen. So your only real concern was your family and your friends and the people that you're surrounded by.
Yes.
You didn't have to take on all the worries and the stresses of everything else in the world. And so I try really hard to ignore as much news as possible, because I don't really need to know. I mean, I know they always say it's good if you're informed. It's good to be informed, and it is to an extent. But a lot of the stuff that we hear about, we don't need to know about.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know about, people murdering other people or doing horrible things, your life would go on just fine, and it really wouldn't have any effect on you whatsoever. It's just negativity that's being put into you and into your personal life.
Yeah.
And I think we need to be more conscious of that, especially with the political atmosphere, with what it is. And this is where it transitions, because I want to talk about positivity and the power of thought. And what we think about has power.
Yes.
When we think about it, we're giving it power. We're lending our own personal power to the thing that we're thinking about. So, for example, let's say there's politician A and then there's politician B. Politician B is super evil and awful, okay? Politician A is super great. And we love politician A. The problem is that everybody wants to talk about politician B because politician B scares them.
Yes.
And they want everybody to know how terribly scary this politician is, and we should never vote for this person, and all this stuff. But because you keep talking about them,
you give them more power.
You give them more power, and that's why politician B is doing so well. Because everybody's talking about them. And it would be like Voldemort. You could talk, if you talked about Voldemort all the time, Voldemort suddenly is going to become more stronger, be more of a presence.
Can't believe you're saying his name out loud.
I know. So, I decided, I made an effort I am no longer going to talk about politician B. At least as much as possible, I'm going to just cut it out. I'm sure I say things now and then, or share things now and then. But for the most part, I have made a choice to not talk about politician B. I'm ignoring politician B as much as possible. And instead, I want politician A to do well, so I'm putting all of my efforts and focus into politician A. So I share things about politician A. I talk about how great politician A is, why I like politician A, instead of talking about why I hate politician B.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm giving attention to the thing that I want to do well. And the thing that I want to do well is doing well and doing better than that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to talk about this today because I wanted to make people more mindful of what they think about and make an effort. And I know you can't really always control your thoughts, but if you make an effort, you can catch when you're thinking about things that are bad for you or negative or make you feel bad. And then you can go, I'm not going to think about that right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to think about this other thing instead that makes me happy. And I think that will do a lot to change just your personality. I mean, you can be aware you have this bill that you have to pay, and you can spend all day long stressing about paying that bill.
Yeah.
Or you can go, I'm going to pay that bill when I do this. Or I don't know how I'm going to pay that bill yet, but I know it's there. I'm going to file it away for now. And then spend the rest of the day thinking about unicorns and puppies and life goals and things that make you happy. And then only give that bill or that negative thing its attention when it distinctly needs your attention.
Yeah.
I'm filling out the check to pay for that bill or whatever. You don't need to harp on it all the time and focus on it all the time.
Yeah.
So, but with the political atmosphere, I mean, that's how you can make it work in your own personal life. But I think you also need to be mindful of what you give your attention to in public. If you don't want something horrible to happen a lot, you shouldn't talk about it a lot. Instead, promote good things. And this is the problem I have with news and modern media. You watch the news, all it is horrible stuff. Guy murders somebody, dude rapes somebody, I don't know, shoots up a building or something, and it's just negative, horrible. That's all they talk about. The only happy thing they talk about is in the last 5 minutes of the program, and that's called a fluff piece.
Yes.
And that's total crap. Who decided that news is only horrible things? When a guy shoots another person or whatever, that's news to them. Why is that news? Why isn't it news that somebody went and volunteered for somebody? Why does that become the fluff piece?
Ad dollars.
That's what they say. And I think that's a totally wrong mindset. I think we've been programmed to think that bad things are newsworthy and we need to pay attention to them.
Agreed.
I don't think that's true.
No.
I think we should be giving our attention to the good things. Deal with the bad things if you can, but give your attention to the good things and the people that are more deserving.
Yes.
It's kind of like I tell people when they start their YouTube channels, they always ask me for advice, and they get their first hater, and they're all heartbroken about the hater who said all these horrible things. And I always tell them the same thing. Block that person, delete their comment, or just ignore them. Because if you've got 10 people that tell you you're awesome, and one person who tells you that you're not, you should not be giving any attention to that one person who's telling you you're not. You should be giving all your attention to the people that are telling you you're awesome. They are more worthy of your attention than the person who is being mean to you. So give them your power and not the negative person your power.
For instance, when I start my blog, I always say, hello, good people. Welcome to this week.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
I never really made that connection before.
Yeah. And it was something purposeful I started when I started vlogging, because I just wanted to put it out there that good people would watch my vlog.
Yeah. That's nice. So you attract good people to you. That's nice, Nick. Well done. Well done.
Bringing it back to topic.
Yeah. That's awesome. So I just wanted, just to put that out there, just to be mindful of where you're putting your power and where you're putting your focus. I think there's a lot more power in our thoughts than a lot of us really realize.
Yes.
Spells and stuff are great, and that's a great way to focus your power and focus your thoughts. But in the everyday, mind, everyday usage of your mind, we should be aware of where we're sending our power.
Definitely. And I mean, even if it comes down to basic instincts, like when you're working with people, you can tell when somebody's having a crappy day. You can just feel it. There's something in our human brains that connects with each other. So when I'm not always super successful, but when I'm trying to work, I try to put that positivity out there and be that calming presence so that, it helps boost productivity and all that jazz.
Right. Because people pick up off of your personality. You get one person who comes into work who's in a horrible mood, and it changes the way the entire atmosphere is in the building.
Yes.
In the room. And actually, you and I have a friend who shall remain nameless, who we were both commenting on how they've changed. Now, this person is going through a big life change.
Yes.
And they were in a very negative place before.
Mm-hmm.
They were surrounded by people who treated them very badly and very poorly.
Mm-hmm.
And so this person was often stressed out,
Yes.
very negative in the way they approached certain subjects, and they were easy to temper,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. They got very emotionally upset about the smallest things.
Mm-hmm.
And we noticed that this person has made a change. They have moved away from these negative people, moved into a more positive home.
Mm-hmm.
And I got an email from this person, and I shared it with Nick because it was amazing how very different this person suddenly was.
Yes.
All of a sudden, they were using more positive language.
Yes.
Their whole email just seemed like they were operating from a very different vibration than they had been operating under.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt it through the email.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was like talking to someone who suddenly woke up and was a guru or a saint or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, you've changed. What happened to you?
Mm-hmm.
And we both think that's because they've moved into a better place, and then they're surrounded by more positive people, and that has affected them,
Mm-hmm.
and that has affected both Nick and I.
Yes.
Because they have spread that to us.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was reading this email, I thought, I could be better about being more positive and raising those up that are around me.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I tried that already, but I'm like, I could be better because they were at a higher vibration, so I wanted to be at a higher vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So, just kind of an interesting thing.
Yes.
Hopefully it sticks with them and they
Yes.
continue to operate there. I think you have to continually work at it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody's perfect.
No.
I think you slowly move up and you try to stay up there and maybe you fall back, but
Mm-hmm.
you keep working at it.
Keep trying.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
There was something when I first started learning about Wicca and paganism and all that stuff and all the new agey stuff. The person who taught me had explained to me that there are basically 10 versions of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, there's imagine a scale 1 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
1 is your worst possible self.
Mm-hmm.
10 is your best possible self. And so when you are negative and you're unhealthy and you're mean and you're depressed, you're a 1 at that point. And that's who you're, that person, that's who you are. And that's the way you think.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're healthy and you take care of yourself and you're happy and you're surrounded by happy people and you're doing things that you love, you're up near a 10.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like, and speaking it out loud now, it sounds like kind of a duh moment. But when I first heard about that, I was like, wow, that is really true, that there are many different versions of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of have to decide, which one do you want to be? Where do you want to end up on that scale? Where are you now? And I would say, when I first heard about that, I was probably pretty low on that scale because I was going through a really hard time.
Yeah.
So I think I'd be like a 3 or 4. I'd say I'd probably like a 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
I've transitioned my life to that point, and my goal is to be my best possible self.
Yeah.
To someday be a 10 where I'm happy and I'm spiritual and I'm blessed and I'm helping those around me and,
Mm-hmm.
and raising those up around me to a better level than where they were.
Yeah.
So I think it's, it's just something that you need to, I think everybody would be good to think about. What number are you on that scale?
Mm-hmm.
And then what can you do to move yourself up in that scale?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's really what I want to talk about.
Yay!
I don't know, that's really like something that, it's just, I don't know. Just put it out there.
Yeah. I was just thinking it's really ironic that our show is called Two Bad Pagans then.
What do you mean?
Because we're putting it out there that we're bad pagans. I think we should just change it to we're two
I think I've thought of that before.
we're two rocker pagans, like that bad.
And that had crossed my mind too, is that it could have many meanings. Either we're bad at what we're doing, because see, maybe we've been thinking of it that way, is we're bad at what we're doing, and so that's why we're never improving in our practice.
I was just thinking that while you were saying.
Wow.
Maybe
it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Okay, so officially from this moment forward, instead of being two bad pagans, we're like badass pagans.
We're like bad pagans.
Yeah.
It's not how you say it.
Yeah, bad pagans. See?
Maybe we should change our intro. Instead of two bad pagans, we change it to two bad pagans. Oh my god. That's adorable.
Yeah. So now, going forward, you guys know. Putting it out there.
That's funny. I've never thought of it that way.
Well, I think we thought about it when we were originally naming the show, but we're like, okay, it'll just be cutesy funny, ha ha ha.
Right, and
we're
I
bad
think
pagans,
we
and then
change with it. You know what's funny? That was yesterday when I was brushing my teeth. Or it was like last night while I was brushing my teeth. I was thinking about this podcast and how I was going to have to come on this podcast and tell everybody that I didn't do anything for Ostara.
Yeah.
And I remembered thinking, there was this, I would say months and months and months ago, we were doing a podcast, and I thought to myself, someday I'm going to be a really good pagan, and we're going to come on here and we're going to talk about the rituals we did and how knowledgeable we are about stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then our name isn't going to make any sense at all because we've been calling ourselves Two Bad Pagans. And then last night I was thinking about the fact that I had thought that, and then I was like, nah, pretty much we're always going to suck at this. So this name will always fit.
Oh.
But it didn't occur to me that we could be jinxing ourselves, essentially. We were purposely pushing ourselves back without realizing it.
Yeah. The more you know.
Yeah. Now I'm glad that I brought this topic up.
Me too. I still like the name of the show.
I do too.
There
is a bit of a comfort level in it.
I suppose.
They can't expect us to be awesome. It's not called Two Awesome Pagans.
Hey, maybe one day.
Suddenly just change the podcast name. Can you do that?
I don't know, probably.
Huh.
I don't know. Maybe not. Unless I create a different,
a different account, yeah.
Account altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
So, yeah.
So, that's the show for this month, guys. How can people...
That's all we got. We are fresh out.
Hey, we
made it to an hour. We didn't think we were going to.
I was like, we're
Good
just
for
going to
us.
have a short show this week. I mean, it's shorter than our shows have been. We've been trending at 115, 110.
Yeah, that's true.
How can people reach you?
I am on YouTube. I make daily vlogs on YouTube. You can follow me there. You can buy my book, The Beast, by Lindsay Mead.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great book.
It is
Read
a great book.
But I'm also on Twitter and on Facebook, so you can follow me there too.
I gave your book a shout out in my vlog this week.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet. Now I'm excited.
That's fine. I was like, yeah, so I've been reading The Beauty, and you guys should be excited. I was totally terrible. I was like, somebody maybe have just died. Or not. I'm not telling you.
Oh, you better be careful, Nick.
I didn't give any spoilers. I was just like, somebody just died. Or not. I'm not telling.
I let Nick read my book before anybody else does, and he goes on his YouTube channel and totally spoils the book for everybody.
No. I think it was the Book Princess or someone was like, oh, I hate you so much. Oh, wait. No spoilers. Okay.
She is very excited to read my book.
It sounds like it.
And I'm excited for her to read my book.
Me too.
Yeah, so definitely Facebook, Twitter, buy my book, and follow my YouTube channel that I try to post every single day, but sometimes I don't. It just kind of depends on how I'm doing in the week. Right now, it's a definitely, transition.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a transitional into year 3 of my vlog, and we're moving, so I'm missing days, but it's going to be more and more often. And some big things are coming, so you'll definitely want to tune in. You get to watch me move, lose weight, and finish my next book and follow along with my journey there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what about you? How can we find you?
I'm also on the YouTube. I do a weekly vlog, and I post about my life in the week.
Yeah.
It's good fun.
Mm-hmm.
You can also email the show at twobadpaganspodcast@gmail.com.
Yep.
I check that account multiple times a day, so feel free to email us questions and show topics and all that jazz. Or you can find the rest of my links over at our blogspot at twobadpagans.blogspot.com, and there will be links on the side of the page that says Lindsay's links and Nicholas's links. You can click on one of those, and they'll get you all of our links to contact us everywhere.
Yep. Feel free. We love listener mail.
We do. Anyway, thanks for tuning in this month.
Thank you.
Blessed be.
Love and light.